And now on standby is our charming and beautiful hostess, Miss Masuma Papia. Each week, Miss Masuma brings a well-known personality. This week, she surprised the GTV studio with an entrepreneur who has done so much and served the world in so many different ways at such a young age. Her name, Miss Sweta Kumar. Let's meet and greet these lovely ladies in the segment called Limelight with Masuma.
Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to Limelight with Masuma. I am your hostess, Masuma Papia. Limelight with Masuma is a TV show focused on promoting and highlighting business owners, professionals, upcoming trends, and key social issues. Above all, it is a show about people from different walks of life sharing their experience, their passion, views, and expertise with us. Powerful women know what it takes to achieve real success, and a true successful woman redefines power by building their businesses against all odds. So for today's episode, I'd like to introduce you to one such individual. She's smart, she's charming, confident, and a true inspiration to all her peers. She's not only a very talented individual, but also a soldier for others. I'm honored to have her as a guest today, so please welcome to the show, Sweta Kumar. Welcome to Limelight with Masuma, Sweta.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, before we start, I do want to tell our viewers how we met because it's very interesting. Those of you who know me know that I'm a makeup artist by profession, and you know, you're my very first teacher in that process. So I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So Sweta, I know you very well, but for viewers today, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
So I'm actually from Kathmandu, Nepal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was born there, and when I was about 2 years old, I moved to Australia, where my dad was doing his PhD. We were there for a short time. We kind of bounced around Moscow, back to Nepal, and then we moved to the US.
Wow, so you've been all around the globe, I'd
Yeah.
say. Pretty international. So so how old were you when you came here?
I was about
To
5
the US.
years old.
Oh, wow. So
Going into kindergarten.
very young. That's
Yeah.
very young. So, you know, you are an entrepreneur, but I'm kind of interested in knowing exactly what did you want to be when you grew up? I mean, I'm sure all girls have some kind of dreams. I did. I wanted to be a detective of all things. But that's story for another day.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, when I was born, when I came into this world, I believe that I came in with 4 things.
Okay.
And that is 1, a makeup bag, 2, a great skincare line.
I could see that, yes.
I'm really into skincare. And then a camera.
Okay.
And an incredibly wild imagination. So naturally, with those 4 things, I tended towards modeling, acting, but acting is something I really became interested in. If you go through like photo books of us, you'll see pictures of me kind of doing all that.
I've seen you in all different colors, and I see the amazing work you're doing, which is I'm so happy that you could come. And those 4 things you described when you were a little girl, they all exist still.
Thank you.
So before I get into all the fun stuff, you know, something very serious that I did want to bring up, because you've mentioned this to me before, you are a former Marine. And once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yes.
So what made you want to join the United States Marine Corps?
Well, you know, kind of going back to my childhood, I was from Nepal, and we moved here to the States, and I was kind of torn between 2 cultures. Right. And because of that, growing up, I was like the only Nepalese girl in school, and I started to get this idea that I was different. There was some bullying going on in school, and so I started to have this idea that I was different, nobody liked me. That progressed into high school, where I got involved in drinking, and something clicked when I started drinking. I thought, oh my God, now I'm normal. I didn't have to think about all these things, so it became a little bit of a problem. And, well, a little bit, it was a big problem. And I remember thinking, maybe, my sister said to me, I was in college, and I remember her saying, you know, what do you think of the military? And somewhere deep down inside, I just thought, you know what? this just might fix me.
Yeah.
This might be the ticket to make me feel normal. And so that, coupled with the fact that I would be able to be stationed in LA or in California and then eventually pursue acting, those were kind of the two things that
went side by side. But I'm sure, you know, marine life changed you quite a bit. Not as a person, but just some of the habits, I should say, made you a little disciplined, would you say?
I would say that the Marine Corps was a very crucial time for me, because that was the time where it was like all of a sudden I had all of this freedom. I was no longer in my home. I was no longer sort of, you know, my parents did such a wonderful job, but it was me. I had these issues. And so going into the Marine Corps, really, like, I went into this rebellion phase. So I feel like it was very important for me to go through that, because once I got out of the Marine Corps, I feel that I hit a bottom where I was able to see, you know what, something's going on in here. Something needs to be changed. Something in here has to come out. And so that was sort of my road to recovering from my issues of growing up.
You know, it's interesting. We don't really see a lot of girls, especially from that part of the world, joining, of all things, the Marine Corps, because they're the toughest. So I thank you for that, and thank you for sharing some of the sensitive stuff about your life, because it's very hard. And me being from a background, you know, it was hard for me too when I first came in. So I totally understand the boat between, you know, it's almost like you're in two different boats, because you know you're trying to adjust. So thank you for that.
You're
so
welcome.
you mentioned acting a little bit, because I do want to talk about that. You did a lot of acting in LA, and you lived there for a while.
I did. So, you know, on this sort of road to recovery, I started discovering, wait a second, there's so many things that I love to do. So I went back to school. And I did theater. I went, and I also, after I finished that, I went into the Beverly Hills Playhouse, and I started living the acting dream. It was, you know, this dream come true for me. So yeah.
Wow. I remember you told us the first time we met in our whole group, we were like, oh my gosh, this is exciting. Why did you leave though? Because you moved back to Virginia.
I did. So kind of going back to that whole idea again from my childhood, sort of, I believe that because I went through these things, and because now I was on this road to, you know, this whole time I'm still learning and discovering about myself. I got into journaling, I got into you know, seeking all of this help. I got into meditation, and I started to discover more and more of who I really was. And this was actually a very hard thing for me, because I realized that this whole time, the reason I wanted to be an actress was to walk down the red carpet, to be on the cover of magazines, and people be like, look at her, now she's lovable. Now I can, now everybody will love me. And what I started to see was my journey to loving myself allowed freedom for me to kind of come back here and get into makeup and all of that.
That's very important to kind of find where our heart is, you know, that passion. So I'm glad you found it, and I'm glad you found it because that's how we met. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So I do want to talk about something that you represent something very huge, and I myself do a little bit of charity, not as much as you, I'm sure. So charity, this is very close to my heart. And so how did you get involved in it? And then tell us about your charity, because you have a very special charity.
Absolutely. I, you know, again, now that I was kind of following my heart and my intuition and who I was as a person, I went into aesthetic school, and I met this amazing, beautiful human being, Sarita, and her husband, and they're from Nepal. And I told them, you know, I went to Nepal for a month. I got to travel the whole entire country, and I got to see the poverty. I got to see the all the beautiful things that.
And it's a beautiful country.
It truly is. So it was definitely a dream come true. And I thought to myself, if I could just help one person, one child, I would be so happy. So, you know, it's funny how the universe works, because now here was Sarita, and her husband they did a lot of help in the most poverty-stricken region of Nepal, which is Karnali. And so I started getting involved with them, and through that I also met a dear friend of mine who is no longer here. We all sort of came together, and we started doing what we called Care for Karnali. I have now recently become a nonprofit, which is the Nepal Youth Fund.
Okay.
And I would like to do more work with that in the near future. As a mom, I'm still learning to balance things out, but we'll get there.
But you know, it's interesting. It just takes that one kind of just, I don't know, a call from within. And a lot of us, you know, we see it every day and we see what's going on in the world, but we don't really do anything about it. So it could just be, you know, a nice gesture. That could be part of charity. It doesn't have to be all financial.
Absolutely.
So I'm so happy that you are doing this, because it takes a bigger person to create something like this. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Sweta, you wear a lot of hats, and you know, it's one of the things that connected to me the most, I feel like, is makeup, because you represent a naturally based makeup company, Unique. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I feel like, you know, Unique came to me at a time in my life where I was sort of transitioning into motherhood.
Yeah.
And I was leaving my work, and
she's beautiful, her daughter. Oh, she is a gorgeous little angel.
Thank you. And I knew I always wanted to stay home, so this was the perfect opportunity for me to, they're an online social media based makeup company. So what I love most about it is that, you know, there was a time where in direct sales you would have to go door to door. Now it's not just our community, we have our fingertips, I mean the whole entire globe. We're literally, I work from my phone.
Yeah.
From my phone.
Oh, I know, she does. I've seen it.
So it's great. I love it. It kind of marries all those different aspects. You know, I talked about the makeup bag, the, you know, skincare, the
because you're doing a lot of skincare too. It's not just makeup. Your current
we just came out with skincare.
Shows that I've watched, they're all about, you know, the beauty within. So that's important, because before makeup, skincare comes first.
And before skincare, loving yourself. And this in here comes first.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I can kind of, I've used, as a makeup artist, we use different makeup. We just don't stick to one particular line. And I've used some of the Unique stuff, and they actually are very good. Very flawless, good finish. So I like them. So Sweta, you wear a lot of different hats, and you wear them very well.
Thank you.
So what is success to you?
Well, success to me, over the years, I guess what I've learned is, you know, there's two different types of success. There's the material success.
Yes.
And then there's that inner success of sort of knowing who you are, accepting yourself for who you are. And I believe for me that, you know, I do know people that I have talked to before that have all the material gains in the world and are so incredibly unhappy inside. So for me, I believe that if you have that internal happiness, that sort of journey from the mind into the human heart, if you have that, then you can attain the material success as well. But I think that it's truly finding yourself and loving yourself.
To be able to accept how you are, and you know, and go with that. So that's really, thank you. That's really good. Sweta, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
You showed me the step toward having my own business, so I appreciate that. And after seeing today's segment, I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be very fond of you. So good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you found this segment interesting. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more related topics, or want to be on the show as a guest, please email me at limelightwithmasuma@gmail.com or call me at 703-646-0098. So until we meet again, stay happy, stay healthy, and enjoy life. Thank you.